Picture this. It's 1987, and a young woman steps onto the stage at the MTV Video Music Awards. The crowd erupts as she begins her performance, her voice echoing through Radio City Music Hall to millions watching worldwide. She's at the absolute peak of her career. #1 albums, sold-out world tours, and a level of fame that most artists only dream of. Fast forward to today, and if you mention her name to someone under 30, they'd probably give you a blank stare. This superstar, who once commanded $10 million per album deal, now performs at small venues for a few hundred people, desperately trying to recapture the magic that once made her a household name. This isn't just one tragic story. It's the reality for dozens of celebrities who experienced meteoric rises to fame only to watch their careers crumbled into obscurity. These aren't just has-beens or one-hit wonders. These were legitimate superstars who dominated headlines, broke records, and seemed untouchable at their peak. But fame, as it turns out, can be more fleeting than anyone imagines. The entertainment industry is brutal, and if we don't understand how quickly stardom can disappear, we miss the harsh reality of what it takes to stay relevant in Hollywood. These stories aren't just about fallen celebrities. They're cautionary tales about the fickleness of public attention, the dangers of poor career choices, and how quickly the spotlight can move on to the next big thing. When superstars become forgotten icons, it reveals the dark side of an industry that builds people up only to watch them fall. If we ignore these transformations, we fail to appreciate how fragile celebrity status really is and how devastating the fall from grace can be for those who experience it. 1. Vanilla Ice. From $10 million mansion to reality TV desperation. In 1990, Robert Van Winkle, better known as Vanilla Ice, was the biggest name in music. His single, Ice Ice Baby, became the first hip-hop song to top the Billboard Hot 100, and his album, To the Extreme, sold over 15 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling hip-hop albums of all time. He was earning $1 million per concert, living in a $10 million mansion, and dating Madonna. But behind the scenes, the empire was built on shaky ground. When it was revealed that Vanilla Ice had fabricated much of his street credibility and background, his credibility crumbled overnight. Music critics and hip-hop artists began attacking him relentlessly. By 1991, just 1 year after his peak, concert venues were canceling shows due to poor ticket sales. I went from selling out Madison Square Garden to playing county fairs, Vanilla Ice later admitted in a 2010 interview. The fall was so fast and so brutal that I didn't know how to handle it. By 1994, he was declaring bankruptcy, owing over $4 million in back taxes. His mansion was foreclosed, and he was reduced to living in a small apartment. Today, most people know Vanilla Ice only as a reality TV personality on shows like The Surreal Life and his home renovation show, The Vanilla Ice Project. He performs at small venues and colleges, earning perhaps $10,000 per show, a far cry from his million-dollar concert days. Recent attempts at comeback albums have sold fewer than 1,000 copies each. 2. Pauly Shore. From $3 million per movie to comedy club struggles. In the early 1990s, Pauly Shore was Hollywood's golden boy of comedy. His surfer dude persona and catchphrase, "Hey, buddy," made him a household name. Movies like Encino Man, Son-in-Law, and Biodome were box office hits, with Shore commanding $3 million per film. He was MTV's most recognizable face and had his own late-night talk show. However, by 1996, audiences had grown tired of Shore's one-note comedy style. Biodome bombed at the box office, earning just $13.4 million against a $15 million budget. Critics savaged the film, and Shore's career began its rapid descent. Studios stopped calling, and his asking price dropped from $3 million to under $100,000 per project
within 2 years. Shore's agent dropped him in 1998, telling him, "Paulie, you're not bankable anymore. The industry has moved on." He was forced to return to stand-up comedy, but even that was proving challenging. Comedy clubs that once paid him $50,000 per weekend were now offering $5,000, and many wouldn't book him at all. In 2003, Shore made a mock desperate attempt at relevance with a mockumentary called Pauly Shore is Dead, which he financed himself for $500,000. The film barely received a theatrical release and made back only $11,000. Today, Shore performs at small comedy clubs and colleges, often playing to audiences who remember him only as a punchline from the 90s. 3. Kevin Federline. From Britney's husband to forgotten DJ. Kevin Federline's claim to fame was never really his talent. It was his marriage to pop star Britney Spears in 2004. During their 2-year marriage, Federline was constantly in the spotlight, appearing on magazine covers and reality shows. He leveraged his fame to launch a rap career, with his debut single, Popozan, receiving massive media attention, though mostly negative. At the height of his fame in 2006, Federline was earning $50,000 per appearance at nightclub events and was paid $300,000 for a New Year's Eve performance in Las Vegas. He received a $1 million advance for his album Playing with Fire and had endorsement deals worth over $2 million annually. But when Spears filed for divorce in November 2006, Federline's celebrity status evaporated almost instantly. His album, released just weeks after the divorce filing, sold only 6,000 copies in its first week and was widely ridiculed by critics. One review called it possibly the worst album ever recorded by someone who's not mentally ill. By 2008, Federline was struggling to find work. Nightclubs that once paid him $50,000 were now offering $5,000, and many wouldn't book him at all. He was forced to take a job as a DJ at small venues, earning $500 to $1,000 per gig. In 2010, he appeared on the reality show Celebrity Fit Club, admitting he was nearly broke and living off child support payments from Spears. Today, Federline occasionally DJs at small clubs and makes rare reality TV appearances. His Instagram account, once followed by millions, now has fewer than 50,000 followers, and his attempts at comeback singles have received virtually no attention. 4. Sinbad. From $70 million career peak to financial ruin. David Adkins, known professionally as Sinbad, was one of the biggest comedians of the 1990s. His clean, family-friendly comedy style and appearances in hit movies like House Guest and First Kid made him a household name. At his peak in 1995, Sinbad was earning $2 million per movie and $100,000 per stand-up performance. His total career earnings exceeded $70 million. However, Sinbad's downfall came through poor financial management and IRS troubles. Despite his massive earnings, he was spending even more on luxury items, multiple homes, and supporting extended family members. By 2009, it was revealed that Sinbad owed over $8 million in back taxes to the IRS. The IRS seized his $2.5 million home in California, and he was forced to file for bankruptcy protection twice, once in 2009 and again in 2013. By 2010, Sinbad was performing at small comedy clubs for as little as $5,000 per show, a fraction of his former asking price. He took any work he could get, including appearances at corporate events and casino shows. In 2020, Sinbad suffered a stroke that left him unable to perform, effectively ending his comeback attempts. Today, Sinbad requires full-time care due to his stroke-related disabilities. His family has set up a GoFundMe page to help with medical expenses. A tragic end for someone who was once America's highest-paid entertainer.
5. Tara Reid. From $1 million per film to direct-to-video disasters. Tara Reid seemed destined for A-list stardom in the early 2000s. Her roles in American Pie and Van Wilder established her as Hollywood's go-to party girl, and she was earning $1 million per film by 2002. She was a constant presence on red carpets, dated high-profile celebrities, and was considered one of Hollywood's most promising young actresses. But Reid's career began to derail due to personal issues and poor career choices. Her excessive partying and numerous plastic surgeries became tabloid fodder, overshadowing her professional work. A wardrobe malfunction at a 2004 party where her breast implant was exposed became a viral sensation and further damaged her reputation. Studios began to see Reid as a liability. Her asking price dropped from $1 million to $100,000 within 3 years. She was forced to take roles in low-budget direct-to-video films like Alone in the Dark, which was nominated for multiple Razzie Awards and is considered one of the worst films ever made. I went from being offered big studio films to begging for small roles in movies that went straight to DVD, Reid revealed in a 2015 interview. The industry is unforgiving when you make mistakes. By 2010, Reid was primarily known for appearing in the Sharknado film series, low-budget TV movies that were so bad they became camp classics. While these films gave her some renewed attention, they paid only $50,000 to $100,000 per movie, and Reid was widely seen as a has-been actress playing in joke films. Today, Reid continues to appear in B-movies and reality TV shows, but her days as a serious actress are long behind her. Her recent films go largely unnoticed, and her social media presence is her primary way of maintaining relevance with her diminishing fan base. 6. Brendan Fraser, from $100 million box office star to Hollywood exile. Brendan Fraser was one of Hollywood's biggest action stars in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The Mummy trilogy alone earned over $1.2 billion worldwide, and Fraser was commanding $12.5 million per film at his peak. He was considered bankable, charismatic, and seemed to have a long career ahead of him in major blockbusters. However, Fraser's career began to decline due to a combination of physical injuries from performing his own stunts and personal struggles. Multiple surgeries on his back, knees, and vocal cords left him unable to perform the physical roles that had made him famous. Additionally, a contentious divorce that resulted in $900,000 annual alimony payments strained his finances. But the most devastating blow came from his allegation that Hollywood Foreign Press Association president Philip Burke had sexually assaulted him in 2003. Fraser claims that speaking out about the incident led to him being blacklisted by the industry. "I felt like a little kid. I thought I was going to cry," Fraser said about the incident in a 2018 interview. By 2010, Fraser was barely working in Hollywood. His films went straight to video, and his asking price had dropped to under $1 million per project. He gained significant weight, lost his leading man looks, and seemed to disappear entirely from the public eye. The situation became so dire that in 2013, Fraser petitioned the court to reduce his alimony payments, claiming he could no longer afford them due to health issues and lack of work. Court documents revealed his annual income had dropped from $25 million to under $3 million. Fraser's comeback began in 2016 with smaller, critically acclaimed roles, culminating in his Oscar-winning performance in The Whale in 2022. However, his 15 years in Hollywood exile serve as a reminder of how quickly the industry can abandon even its biggest stars. 7. Katherine Heigl, from $12 million TV star to career suicide. Katherine Heigl appeared to have it all in 2007. She was starring on one of TV's biggest hits, Grey's Anatomy, earning $300,000 per episode, and had just starred in the romantic comedy blockbuster Knucked Up. She was on magazine covers, had lucrative endorsement deals, and was being offered starring roles in major studio films. But Heigl's career began to implode due to her reputation for being difficult to work with. She publicly criticized Knocked Up, calling it a little sexist and alienating director Judd Apatow and co-star Seth Rogen. Then she withdrew her name from Emmy consideration for Grey's Anatomy, stating the writing wasn't good enough, which infuriated the show's creator, Shonda Rhimes. Catherine was talented, but she had this way of making everyone around her feel like their work wasn't good enough, a former Grey's Anatomy writer revealed anonymously in 2012. She would rewrite dialogue on set and make demands that were unreasonable. By 2010, Catherine had been written off Grey's Anatomy and was struggling to find work in Hollywood. Her films The Ugly Truth and Killers were box office disappointments, and directors began to refuse to work with her. Her asking price dropped from $12 million to $3 million within 2 years. In 2014, Heigl's career reached its lowest point when her NBC series State of Affairs was canceled after just 1 season despite heavy promotion. She was forced to take supporting roles in small-budget films and TV movies, earning a fraction of her former salary. In recent years, Heigl has attempted to rehabilitate her image, publicly apologizing for her past behavior and taking roles in Netflix series. However, she has never regained her former status as a leading lady, and her peak earning days appeared to be behind her.
Mike Myers, from $25 million per film to complete disappearance. Mike Myers was one of Hollywood's highest-paid comedians in the early 2000s. The success of Austin Powers and Shrek made him incredibly bankable, and he was earning $25 million per film by 2008. Shrek 2 became one of the highest-grossing animated films of all time, and Myers seemed to have a permanent place in Hollywood's A-listers. However, Myers' career came to an abrupt halt with the catastrophic failure of The Love Guru in 2008. The film, which Myers wrote, produced, and starred in, was both a critical and commercial disaster, earning just $40 million worldwide against a $62 million budget. Critics savaged the movie, calling it aggressively unfunny and painfully bad. More damaging than the film's failure was Myers' reputation for being impossible to work with during production. Reports emerged of his demanding behavior, including insisting that crew members not make eye contact with him and requiring that his trailer be positioned exactly 100 feet from the set. Co-star Jessica Alba later described working with Myers as really hard and not fun. After The Love Guru, Hollywood essentially stopped calling Myers. Despite his previous success, studios were unwilling to risk working with someone who had developed such a difficult reputation. His asking price, which had been $25 million per film, became irrelevant because he wasn't being offered any major roles. Myers disappeared from Hollywood almost entirely after 2008. Apart from continuing to voice Shrek in the animated sequels, he has virtually no significant film or TV roles. He has made occasional appearances at comedy events and award shows, but his days as a leading man appear to be over. In interviews, Myers has remained largely silent about his career decline, leading to speculation that he may have chosen to step away from Hollywood rather than being forced out. Regardless of the reason, one of comedy's biggest stars has become virtually invisible in the entertainment industry.
9. Mischa Barton, from teen icon to tabloid tragedy. Mischa Barton was the epitome of mid-2000s teen stardom. Her role as Marissa Cooper on The O.C. made her a household name, and she was earning $175,000 per episode by the show's 3rd season. Fashion magazines put her on their covers, designers competed to dress her, and she had endorsement deals worth millions annually. At the height of her fame in 2005, Barton was considered one of Hollywood's most promising young actresses. She appeared in films like The Sixth Sense and was being offered leading roles in major studio productions. Her personal life was constantly covered by paparazzi, and she was dating high-profile celebrities. However, Barton's life began to spiral out of control due to substance abuse and mental health issues. In 2007, she was arrested for DUI, and reports of erratic behavior on the set of The O.C. led to her character being killed off the show. Her asking price for films dropped from $1 million to under $100,000 within 2 years. "I was so young and I was dealing with so much pressure," Barton later explained. "I didn't have the tools to handle fame, and I made a lot of bad decisions." By 2009, she was in and out of psychiatric facilities and had been dropped by her talent agency. Barton's career never recovered from her early troubles. She has appeared in numerous low-budget films and international productions, but none have brought her back to mainstream attention. Her last significant role was in a short-lived CW reboot of The Hills, which was canceled after 2 seasons. Today, Barton is largely forgotten by the mainstream entertainment industry. She occasionally appears in small films or reality TV shows, but her days as a teen icon and rising star are far behind her. 10. Shia LaBeouf, from $15 million blockbuster star to art project outcast. Shia LaBeouf seemed destined for long-term A-list status in the late 2000s. His roles in the Transformers franchise made him incredibly bankable, and he was earning $15 million per film by 2011. Steven Spielberg had personally chosen him for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and major directors were lining up to work with him. But Shia LaBeouf's career began to derail due to his increasingly erratic behavior and controversial art projects. His plagiarism scandal in 2013, where he was caught copying other artists' work, damaged his reputation in Hollywood. His bizarre performance art pieces, including wearing a paper bag over his head at a film premiere and spending 3 days in an elevator, made him seem unstable to studio executives. Shia became someone who was more interested in being weird than being a movie star, a former agent told The Hollywood Reporter in 2016. Studios started seeing him as a liability rather than an asset. Shia LaBeouf's asking price dropped dramatically after he began turning down major studio films in favor of smaller art house projects. His 2019 film Honey Boy, which he wrote while in rehab, earned critical acclaim but made less than $3 million at the box office. Recent allegations of abuse by multiple ex-girlfriends, including actress FTK Twigs, have further damaged his reputation and career prospects. Several planned projects have been canceled, and Shia LaBeouf has largely retreated from public life. While Shia LaBeouf's situation may be partially self-imposed, his transformation from blockbuster leading man to industry outcast demonstrates how quickly Hollywood can abandon stars who become too controversial or unreliable. 11. Lindsay Lohan, from $7.5 million movie star to tabloid fixture. Lindsay Lohan's fall from grace is one of Hollywood's most documented career collapses. In 2004, she was one of the industry's most promising young stars, earning $7.5 million for Herbie Fully Loaded and being courted by major directors. Her films Mean Girls and Freaky Friday established her as a bankable actress with serious comedic talent. However, Lohan's career was derailed by substance abuse, legal troubles, and constant negative publicity. Between 2007 and 2012, she was arrested multiple times for DUI, theft, and probation violations. Her erratic behavior on movie sets led to her being fired from several projects, including The Other Side in 2006. Studios became unwilling to insure Lohan for major productions due to her unreliability. Her asking price dropped from $7.5 million to under $100,000 within 2 years, and even then, few producers were willing to hire her. Her 2013 comeback attempt in The Canyons paid only $100 per day plus profit sharing. Industry experts attribute her decline to Strauda Saviuzi and Pathus, with studios being particularly risk-averse. Lohan spent several years living in Europe, appearing in low-budget international films and reality TV shows. While she has made recent attempts at a comeback, including a Netflix holiday film, her days as a major Hollywood star appear to be over. Her peak earning years lasted only from 2003 to 2006, making her one of the shortest-lived superstars in Hollywood history. 12. Taylor Lautner.
from $12.5 million Twilight star to forgotten heartthrob. Taylor Lautner experienced meteoric success as Jacob Black in the Twilight Saga, earning $12.5 million for the final two films and becoming one of Hollywood's most sought-after young actors. At his peak in 2011, he was earning more than most established A-list actors and was considered the next big action star. However, Lautner's career stalled immediately after Twilight ended. His attempts to transition to leading man roles in films like Abduction and Tracers were commercial failures, with Abduction earning just $82 million worldwide against a $35 million budget. Critics consistently panned his acting ability, and audiences didn't follow him to non-Twilight projects. Taylor was incredibly popular as Jacob, but that popularity didn't translate to other roles, explained casting director Sarah Finn. They saw him as that character, not as a versatile actor. By 2015, Lautner was no longer being offered leading roles in major studio films. His asking price dropped from $12.5 million to under $1 million within 4 years. He was forced to take supporting roles in small-budget films and eventually transitioned to television with the BBC series Cuckoo. His most recent role was in the Netflix comedy series Home Team, but his days as a major movie star are clearly behind him. His career serves as an example of how franchise success doesn't always translate to sustained stardom, especially for actors who become too closely associated with specific characters. 13. Cuba Gooding Jr., from Oscar-winning actor to direct-to-video star. Cuba Gooding Jr. won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in 1997 for Jerry Maguire and seemed poised for a long and successful career. He was earning $5 to $8 million per film and was considered one of Hollywood's most charismatic leading men. His energetic acceptance speech, where he shouted, "Show me the money," became an iconic Oscar moment. However, Gooding's career began to decline due to poor film choices and changing audience tastes. A string of unsuccessful comedies and action films in the early 2000s damaged his reputation with both critics and audiences. Films like Boat Trip and Snow Dogs were critical and commercial failures. By 2005, Gooding was primarily appearing in direct-to-video films and smaller-budget productions. His asking price dropped from $8 million to under $1 million within 4 years, and he was no longer considered bankable for major studio releases. His appearances in The Daddy Day Camp and American Gangster, in a small role, marked the end of his leading man era. More recently, Gooding has faced serious legal troubles, including multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. These allegations have effectively ended his career, with several planned projects being canceled and his representatives dropping him. Today, Gooding appears occasionally in small films or TV shows, but his Oscar-winning career peak seems like a distant memory. His fall from acclaimed actor to industry pariah demonstrates how quickly reputations can be destroyed in Hollywood. 14. Macaulay Culkin, from $17 million child star to reclusive adult. Macaulay Culkin was the world's most famous child actor in the 1990s, earning an unprecedented $17 million for Home Alone 2 at age 12. He was the first child actor to command adult star salaries and was destined for a lifetime in entertainment. However, Macaulay's transition to adult roles proved nearly impossible. His attempts at more mature films like The Good Son and Getting Even with Dad were commercial failures, and audiences couldn't accept him as anything other than the cute kid from Home Alone. Macaulay largely retreated from acting in his teens, citing burnout and wanting a normal childhood. When he attempted a comeback as an adult, his unconventional choices and personal struggles overshadowed his professional work. His band, The Pizza Underground, which performed Velvet Underground songs with pizza-themed lyrics, was widely mocked. Macaulay became more famous for being weird than for his acting, noted entertainment journalist Maria Garcia. People were more interested in his personal life and strange behavior than in seeing him in movies.
While Macaulay has made a successful return to acting in recent years with American Horror Story and other projects, he never regained his status as a major star. His peak earning period lasted only from 1990 to 1994, making him one of the shortest-lived superstars in Hollywood history. 15. Brendan Fraser, extended coverage. The continuation of Fraser's story reveals even more troubling details about his Hollywood exile. Industry insiders revealed that Fraser's blacklisting was more extensive than initially known. After speaking out about his alleged assault, Fraser found himself excluded not just from major films, but from industry events, award shows, and even casual Hollywood social gatherings. Brendan went from being invited to everything to being invited to nothing, revealed a former agent who requested anonymity. It was like he had become radioactive in the industry. The financial strain became so severe that Fraser was forced to sell his $9 million Beverly Hills mansion and move to a modest home in Bedford, New York. His ex-wife's $900,000 annual alimony payments represented nearly half of his reduced income, leaving him struggling to maintain his lifestyle and pay for his children's expenses. Fraser's physical condition also continued to deteriorate during his exiled years. He required additional surgeries and was often seen using a walking cane due to chronic back pain. The once athletic actor who performed his own stunts was physically unable to take on action roles even if they had been offered to him.
16. Eddie Murphy, from $20 million comedy king to family film exile. While Eddie Murphy hasn't completely disappeared from Hollywood, his career trajectory represents one of the most dramatic falls from comedy superstardom. In the 1980s and early 1990s, Murphy was Hollywood's highest-paid comedian, earning $20 million per film and starring in massive hits like Beverly Hills Cop and Coming to America. However, Murphy's career began declining in the late 1990s due to a series of commercial failures and changing comedic tastes. Films like Holy Man and I Spy were box office disasters, and Murphy's edgy, adult-oriented humor fell out of favor with audiences. Desperate to remain relevant, Murphy transitioned to family-friendly films like the Nutty Professor remakes and Mulan. While some were successful, they represented a significant departure from the R-rated comedy that had made him famous. His asking price dropped from $20 million to $10 to $15 million, and he was no longer considered Hollywood's comedy king. The lowest point came with Norbit in 2007, a film that was both critically savaged and blamed for costing Murphy the Oscar for Dreamgirls. The film's failure marked the end of Murphy's ability to open a film based on his name alone. Today, Murphy primarily provides voices for animated films like Shrek or appears in Netflix productions. While he remains a recognizable name, his days as Hollywood's premier comedy star are clearly behind him. 17. John Travolta, the resurrection that couldn't last. John Travolta's career experienced both dramatic decline and remarkable resurrection, making his story unique among forgotten superstars. After his massive success in Saturday Night Fever and Grease, Travolta's career nearly ended with a string of failures in the 1980s. The 1994 film Pulp Fiction resurrected Travolta's career and made him bankable again, leading to a second wave of success with films like Get Shorty and Face Off. He was earning $20 million per film and seemed to have secured his place as a permanent A-lister. However, Travolta's second career peak was relatively brief. By the early 2000s, audiences grew tired of his performances, and a series of critical and commercial failures once again damaged his reputation. Films like Battlefield Earth, which Travolta also produced, were considered among the worst ever made. More recently, Travolta has been relegated to direct-to-video action films and small-budget productions. His personal tragedies, including the death of his son Jet in 2009, have overshadowed his professional work. Today, Travolta occasionally appears in small films or documentaries about his life, but his days as a major star appear to be over for the second time. 18. Val Kilmer, from Top Gun star to health struggle survivor. Val Kilmer was one of the most promising actors of the 1980s and 1990s, starring in iconic films like Top Gun, Heat, and Batman Forever. He was known for his intense method acting and was considered one of Hollywood's most talented leading men. However, Kilmer developed a reputation for being difficult to work with, leading him to being passed over for major roles. His demanding behavior on sets and conflicts with directors made studios reluctant to hire him despite his talent. Kilmer's career decline accelerated in the 2000s as he transitioned to smaller, independent films. His battle with throat cancer, which he initially denied he had, left him unable to speak normally and effectively ended his leading man career. Today, Kilmer can barely speak due to his cancer treatments and appears occasionally in small films or documentaries about his life. His transformation from Hollywood heartthrob to health struggle survivor represents another tragic example of how quickly stardom can fade. 19. Rick Moranis, The Voluntary Disappearance. Rick Moranis chose to step away from Hollywood at the height of his success, making him unique among forgotten superstars. In the early 1990s, Moranis was one of comedy's biggest stars, appearing in hits like Ghostbusters, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and Spaceballs. However, after his wife's death from cancer in 1991, Moranis decided to focus on raising his two young children as a single father. He turned down major roles, including a part in Ghostbusters Afterlife, to maintain his privacy and focus on his family. While Moranis's disappearance was voluntary, it demonstrates how completely someone can fade from public consciousness. An entire generation has grown up without knowing who Rick Moranis is, despite his significant contributions to 1980s and 1990s comedy. Moranis occasionally does voice work or makes rare public appearances, but he has largely succeeded in his goal of living a private life away from Hollywood spotlight. 20. Wesley Snipes, From Action Star to Tax Evader. Wesley Snipes was one of the biggest action stars of the 1990s, commanding $20 million per film for movies like Blade and Demolition Man. He was known for his martial arts skills and intense screen presence, making him one of Hollywood's most bankable African-American actors. However, Snipes' career was derailed by his conviction for tax evasion in 2008. He was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison for failing to pay over $15 million in taxes. During his legal troubles, studios became reluctant to work with him, and his asking price dropped dramatically. After his release from prison in 2013, Snipes attempted a comeback with smaller films and TV appearances, but he never regained his former status as a major action star. His recent appearances in films like The Expendables 3 were supporting roles rather than leading parts. Snipes' story demonstrates how legal troubles can permanently damage even the most successful careers, turning A-list actors into cautionary tales about the importance of financial responsibility. These 20 stories reveal the brutal truth about celebrity in America. Stardom is temporary, fragile, and can disappear faster than it arrives. Each of these performers reached heights that most entertainers only dream of, yet they all experienced dramatic falls that left them struggling to recapture their former glory. The common threads in these stories are striking. Poor career choices, difficult reputations, personal struggles, legal troubles, and simple changes in public taste all contributed to these dramatic career declines. What's most tragic is how many of these stars seemed unaware of how precarious their positions really were. The entertainment industry's fickleness is perhaps its most consistent characteristic. Audiences move on, tastes change, and new stars emerge to replace the old ones. The superstars who become forgotten icons serve as reminders that fame is a business, and in business, yesterday's assets can quickly become today's liabilities. Conclusion. The transformation from superstar to forgotten icon is one of Hollywood's most recurring tragedies. These 20 celebrities remind us that fame is not permanent, success is not guaranteed, and the entertainment industry is unforgiving to those who fall out of favor. Their stories serve as cautionary tales about the importance of smart career management, maintaining professional relationships, and understanding that public attention is a finite resource. They also highlight the human cost of celebrity culture, the pressure, the scrutiny, and the difficulty of maintaining relevance in an industry that constantly seeks the next big thing. While some of these stars may experience comebacks or find new relevance, their peak years are behind them. They've gone from commanding headlines and massive paychecks to struggling for small roles and public recognition. Their falls of grace remind us that in Hollywood, today's superstar can become tomorrow's forgotten icon faster than anyone imagines.